Moments in wrestling. We're going to talk about that. Part 2, best moments in wrestling. I'm going to start this out. Best moments in wrestling is, to me, was Double Dave. I think that was a tremendous deal they did. Ted DiBiase, I believe it was Andre the Giant, wasn't it? It was Andre the Giant.
Andre the Giant.
The rematch, Double Dave Hefner. And they made a big deal of how much did they spend with that plastic surgery. That was no one. Do you think anyone saw that coming?
No, I thought it was pretty decent angle at the time.
It was tremendous. I loved it. The best moment I can remember. We were in Montgomery, Alabama. Crowd was horrible. I think the crowd might have been 22 people were there because everybody was home watching the main event, which was a.
And we had a TV in the dressing room. We were watching it too.
We were, and then we saw the Double Dave. And by the way, no one even knew that Earl was on his way there. He did like the day before. I think he was working for NWA, National Wrestling Alliance. He shows up there, and I bet they kept him from anybody knowing it. Tremendous angle, tremendous thing. I think it was one of the best moments. I think that has to go down one of the best moments of wrestling. That was back when WWF did some tremendous stuff in pro wrestling, and they set the standard for wrestling, no doubt in my mind. Jack, what do you think of the Double Dave?
I thought it was great, and I thought what made it the best was the way they played off each other during that, because the commentators are going crazy. DiBiase's doing his deal, and they're just over there like looking at each other like, you look like me. I thought they sold that perfectly.
Yeah, Rodney Double Dave.
Yeah, that was awesome. Really, really good stuff. And it set up for yet another Andre Hulk match at WrestleMania, and it was good.
Yeah, good
both
stuff.
of them got threw up. Both of them, if I'm not mistaken, got threw out of that one, didn't they?
I think they did. Was it
Randy Savage? Because I believe Randy Savage won that tournament. That was at Trump Plaza.
Yeah, that was 4 hours of wrestling. But still holds up if you go back and watch it. That's WrestleMania 4, wasn't it?
Yes.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yes, because WrestleMania 5 was Savage and
hotel at a casino, and you can see Donald Trump sitting at ringside watching that whole thing play out. It was magnificent. And I think they did. Didn't they do WrestleMania 5 at Trump Plaza as well?
They did 2 there. Yeah, 2 of them there.
All right, Jack. Best moments in wrestling.
Mine is not a one particular moment, but the turning point of a guy coming onto the wrestling scene and completely changing the industry, and that was Gorgeous George.
Yes.
He was the first megastar we ever had in our industry. And, the people today still know the name. All these years later, I mean, this guy didn't write, I think, was it 1962 was the last time he actually had a match, as far as I remember. But here we are all those years later, and people still remember who George Wagner was. And that is impactful.
We started talking about it, and we need to get back to his career because we never got back to doing his career. But he was, and he wasn't an original. He just did it better than the other people that he watched.
He emulated a wrestler named Lord Lansdowne, who wore the flowing robes and had the 2 female valets that come out. So it wasn't you're right, not a completely original gimmick. He just amped it up.
Yeah. He was able to take it, and he was a great marketer. He could market himself so tremendous that he made himself a household name. And when Gorgeous George was on the card, it was going to be a sellout. Tremendous, Rodney Gorgeous George.
Yeah, tremendous, absolutely. And Jack's right. Still to this day, people know the name Gorgeous George.
Aren't they making a movie about his life?
Yeah.
He had some trouble. He had some drinking problems, but and I think they actually had people had to ride with him so he wouldn't be drunk before he got to the show. I think.
Yeah, he died sadly. I think his ex-wife was still taking care of him, but he was, a bad alcoholic. he had a troubled life, after wrestling.
So, Gorgeous George. All right, Rodney. Best moments in wrestling.
One of my favorites, most memorable, and a surprise really was Mr. Wrestling 2 and Magnum TA Mid-South 1984, which that whole year was just a banner year. If you missed it, check it out. Everything they were doing with the Midnight Express, and it was just perfectly executed. This, I believe, was the key to Magnum TA becoming a superstar. I think without that, I'm not sure where he would have been. I think still a star, but not as big of one for sure. Just fantastic stuff, and it showed the true talent of Johnny Walker to be able to basically pass the torch to Magnum TA, and that is exactly what he did, and he did so by putting somebody over. Sure. Have I said something that will get us kicked off the internet?
It's amazing how that works.
Oh my goodness! I might have given away a secret to somebody.
For those people who never saw the Magnum TA Wrestling 2 feud, I believe you can go on YouTube. I believe you can put Mr. Wrestling 2 Magnum TA feud, and they'll show all of it and how it progressed. Wrestling 2 did so many bad things to Magnum TA. I mean, some horrible things, and was the most hated. That's how you get heat. By the way, we talked about it on a live show. Watch that, folks, and you'll see how to get heat on someone that somebody don't care when they win.
Exactly.
Magnum TA got over because of that, because they were somebody they hated. They hated Wrestling 2, and whoever beat them was going to be the mega hero.
And it was so well done. It was impossible to turn him back. There was no way. In fact, Midnight Express was basically turned on television by pulling out the belts and whipping him, and people are standing up, beat him.
They were. Jack, Wrestling 2 and Magnum TA, great, probably a 3 to 4 month program. Well, that's what they called it back in the day. You would work a program, and but tremendous stuff, and really, it showed how good Wrestling 2 was. Did you get to see any of that?
Well, I've gone back and watched some of that, and it's truly, that is the art of storytelling, that we talk about on here all the time. It's wrestling aside. Of course, wrestling in the ring is very important, but the storytelling part is what's so sorely missed. And if you watch nothing else, if you don't understand what we're talking about, go back and watch this whole series of matches and see the groundwork they laid to get where they wanted to be, and then how they went forward with it from that point on. Because they were not just storytelling, they were building Magnum TA in the process to be a top talent.
Yep. And
at the same time, the Midnight Express.
Yes.
So it was brilliantly put together, and I'll say by Bill Dundee. I know other people might take responsibility, but he did an awesome job of putting this together.
Here is another thing. I wouldn't consider it but I think it was the best moment of television because it got people talking. And that's when Jake the Snake Roberts brought out the Cobra and bit Randy Savage, I believe, on another main event. Am I correct? Was that another main event? I think that might have been one of the tremendous. I don't think people saw that coming. Maybe they saw him want to bite him because he had to make him bite him. but other than that, tremendous television, because he had always brought out the python. Now he brings out that Cobra. It's shocked, and I would have never got bit. But Jack, the Cobra, Jake the Snake Roberts.
Oh yeah, tremendous stuff. Because it scared me, because I'm scared of snakes. So it, even though I was in the industry at the time, I understood the work of everything. I was like, man, I don't know if you can pay me enough for that kind of stuff. But yeah, great storytelling again.
Rodney?
I think they killed the snake in that. I think he crushed his head. I think he killed the snake. Because I believe that snake disappeared and they brought in the King Cobra.
Folks, I think he's just joking.
Earthquake squashed one in the bag.
Did they really?
Yes. Kept the
Did
bag.
I missed this. I missed this
It
part.
was Damien, and Earthquake did the old earthquake on him.
Oh
Smashed
yeah,
him
yeah.
into-
But that wasn't
Smashed him.
that wasn't the Cobra though.
No, that wasn't a Cobra. That was Damien.
Oh, so
Damien
Damien
got
turns out to be Derek. That was his name.
He was squashed. He was squished.
Hey, let
repeatedly.
me ask you a question: was Jim Cornette booking at the time?
He was there, I believe.
The reason I say that because you remember on Smoky Mountain Wrestling, he does the same thing to Boo Bradley's cat. You remember that they squashed the cat.
Yeah, you can see why that kept it going there.
And he wonders. He evidently never watches his program, the stuff that he did on the program. All right, Jack, your next one, because Rodney got me all excited about the killing thing.
Well,
they mashed them
back in the day when WWF was gaining such steam. The NWA was still scattered about. AWA was fighting everybody else. When all these failed attempts to compete with WWE came together, Jim Crockett Promotions, the night that the NWA fought back with the first Clash of Champions.
Yes. Hey, is that the Fantastic Midnight Express?
And that is the second match on that card.
Tremendous match. If you've not seen it, this match is one of the best. I've always said that. I think Rock and Roll Express, Midnight Express had great matches, but I think the Fantastics and the Midnight Express had better matches as far as matches go. This match is if you've not seen it, you're a tag team wrestler, you need to watch it. Tremendous.
If you're a fan of the business and you want to sit on the edge of your seat all these years later, you put that match on because it stands the test of time.
Yeah.
And Cornette
main event in
perfect in that. It was Sting versus Flair was the main event.
Yes, and that was the match that Sting becomes a star.
Yep.
Right there.
Yeah, that was a good that Dusty Rhodes knew what he was doing. There's no doubt about it. He knew how to get people. Now he talk about somebody that knew how to get people over. Dusty Rhodes didn't know how to get people over.
Yes, he did.
He had that gift to get somebody over. Rodney, what do you think about the Clash of Champions?
Yeah, that was a fantastic. We watched both shows, and it was right. Yeah, that was a killer show. And actually, when you put that show against the WWF show at the time, that show really was better. I think it was really a great show.
I don't know if I talked about this last time on the best moments number one. But Mr. Wrestling 2 and the Superstar, the Masked Superstar, them tearing his robe, the Masked Superstar tearing Wrestling 2's robe on television, yes. To me, this showed, listen, this is not going to hurt you, but I'm certainly going to make you mad enough that when we wrestle each other in the Omni, that you're going to be really, really mad at me and you're going to make a mistake. What did you, Jack? Because I know you like the Masked Superstar. When he came and tore that, and I think who is he wrestling against? Buzz Sawyer.
Buzz Sawyer.
Sawyer.
Yes.
To me, that was just great television, good storytelling, and I thought it was one of the best moments in wrestling. What do you think, Jack?
I think this was a perfect example of two veteran guys who, at the top of their craft, still knew how to put each other over, and sell tickets. I mean, this was a tremendous angle, but now everything they did, I thought, was tremendous. Yeah. And I've said this many times. The whole reason I went from just being a ring crew guy and being behind the scenes kind of guy was watching their cage match in Columbus, Georgia, back in the late 70s. That convinced me that that's what I wanted to do.
Tremendous stuff. Even the Superstar coming to Atlanta and standing at ringside and watching Wrestling 2 matches was also best moments in wrestling. All right, Jack, one more last one for you. Best moments in wrestling.
Last one for me, a little bit more in the modern area, but with a guy who got his start in the territory days, was the start of Austin 316.
Yes.
That was a pivotal moment for WWE. They rounded a corner. I believe that he was the one who set the direction for WWE. And from my understanding, the whole spell of thump your Bibles. I'm not a fan of that per se, but that changed the whole direction of where WWE was going and opened up that whole Attitude Era because he got such a response. Now, here's the thing: if they had fallen flat, I don't think he would have made it. I think Vince would have got rid of him because he went off script. He did that on his own, but it worked, and the rest is history.
That was because of Jake Roberts, right?
Yes,
that's what I thought. Rodney, Steve Austin 316.
Yes, with Steve Austin, right place at the right time, but he also had somebody there to help him in his endeavor, and that was Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon was the ultimate when it came to being in that position. There was no better evil person ever than Vince McMahon, and you have to take your hats off to Vince. He did a great job during that time. Just awesome.
All right, Rodney, your last one, and then we'll talk to the
one of my favorites of all time was the contract signing between the Midnight Express and the Fantastics on Mid-South. It was just one of the most awesome things that I had ever seen. It was watching poetry in motion as Bobby Eaton slung that chair and repeatedly hit them in the head. It was just, and you hear that impact of that chair was just, I could watch it over and over and over again. Watching Bobby hit Tommy Rogers and Bobby Fulton repeatedly with that chair, and then the way they just threw it down. And then this thing goes nowhere. It went nowhere. They left, and actually they took the match to world class and they used it. It was one of the best things I'd ever seen that went nowhere. It was one of the, but for me, I love that. And I had watched that, and I love it every time I see it. Not because Bobby is beating the Fantastics in the head. I mean, that's part of it, but just that the sheer impact of that chair hitting the head and you hearing that, it was just tremendous.
Yeah,
and the fans were hot.
They were very hot, but I don't understand. That was it. That was just, they never went nowhere with it. They didn't They did take it to Class Wrestling and make some money with it, though. And
then because the Rock and Roll was coming back, and the great opportunity there was missed with the Rock and Roll against the Fantastics. It would have been tremendous draw.
All right, Jack, the Fantastics, Bobby Fulton waylaying.
I will just say this: I was never a baseball fan until I saw Bobby Eaton swing a chair like that. And God rest his soul. I love Bobby. I'm fortunate to spend a lot of time with him before he passed away this year. And he told me that was one of his favorite angles. I told him we discussed it on one of our shows, and he said that was one of my favorite deals. He said, I knew there was a lot of payback coming off that, but he said it was so strong. He said, I knew we could have drawn money, and then it just went away.
I never have understood that. All right, let's talk to the insiders, and then we'll get off of here. But I want to thank everybody for watching our videos. Our videos are 92% more people are watching our videos each and every week. We're gaining some steam, and we want to thank the people who are watching the videos. Share our videos. Let the people know that we're here, that we're talking about professional wrestling. We sometimes talk about today's pro wrestling, not just what happened in wrestling today, because we're pro wrestling inside and out. So we have to talk about everything going on in professional wrestling. Richard Hood is checking in with us. How you doing, Richard? Michael Barr, he says, hello all. I've pushed myself so much, I feel like I am bullying myself. Boxing guy Brian Young. Hello, guys. Again, it's Jack. Happy birthday to your boy.
Thank you. He had a great time.
Let's see. Michael Barr asked the question, Rodney, when Finn Balor lost the match to Roman Reigns because of the top ring rope, and then Rey Mysterio's son tried to put the turnbuckle pad back on the ring, could this be because of CM Punk?
It's possible. It's very, very possible. And I'm sure that Finn went on a diet just as soon as he broke the ropes there, because obviously he's overweight and busted the ring. That was quite painful to watch that last week's match. I just tell you, it's just not believable. It just really isn't.
My favorite quote is Gorgeous George sold as many TVs as Milton Berle.
Yes,
I think
absolutely truth.
Richard Hood, when Ron Simmons became the first Black World Champion, yes.
Yeah.
And people were crying in the audience. That was, Ron Simmons was a great guy, by the way. He's tremendous man, tremendous.
Yes, he is.
And I think they should have left the world title on him much longer. I think that he could have drew a lot of money for him.
And he was he would have been. You're right. He should have been much longer. He was a great representation of what a world champion should be.
Yeah. Michael Barr said more wrestling than comedy is worth watching any time. Ron Simmons, great wrestler.
Yes.
Michael Barr also said, back when Magnum Team Wrestling were wrestling, it was wrestling and not entertainment. Mm-hmm. Yes, Michael, not only was he a great wrestler, but a great athlete. Charles Bell.
Can you imagine what, and I asked Bill Dundee on the night that, of course, we weren't there, when Wrestling 2 beat the Junkyard Dog in the Loser Leave Town match in New Orleans, Loser Leave Mid-South match. He said that place, first of all, went silent, and then things started getting really rough. He said because it was a shock, because nobody thought the two could beat the Junkyard Dog, but he did.
Gorgeous George actually wrestled in Athens, Georgia at the Mona Michael Auditorium in 1961. My father saw him. He wrestled in Atlanta the next night.
Wow.
Great deal. Dan Lang. Hey, by the way, Dan, I got Jack can tell you for a fact.
I got him.
He did get those. Dalton, Georgia. He was delivered those to you. Rodney, do you give Terry Taylor credit for taking some of the hits from the strap that Magnum was supposed to get?
I think this shows exactly what I've been saying about Terry Taylor, that he is a complete idiot. He went out there and taking straps for a match that he was not in. And this is what happens when you stick your nose at other people's business. And I enjoyed every single one of those.
Well,
go ahead.
Honestly, I think the whole conversation went like this: of Terry sitting in the dressing room very quietly, because he was not a loudmouth, and whoever walks in and says, "Hey, you're going to go out there and take those straps tonight," and Terry's going, "No, not me." So.
Actually, you were not far off from the truth. Bill Dundee tells a story. We got it in an interview. He tells a story. He walks in. He said, "You want to get over tonight, Terry? Go out there and take some licks from because Magno's going to have to take all 20 of them. If not, go out there and take some of those."
And it did.
Two walked out.
That's a way of getting somebody over.
Yeah,
that is a way of getting them over. Bill Dundee knew how to get people over. Dusty Rhodes knew how to people. Leo Garibaldi knew how to get people over. What's the guy's name from Mid-South Wrestling that got Junkyard Dog over? Not Bill Watts, but Bill Watts takes credit for it. But
Robley.
Buck Robley.
Buck Robley, yeah.
Those people knew that. How about Bob Armstrong attacking Charlie Platt? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, that was a tremendous deal. Jack, Brent, Rodney, do you all agree that wrestling back then was more hardcore and the finishing holds were better? Yes. I don't know if it was hardcore. But,
well, I guess your definition of hardcore, I don't think Michael means what we view as hardcore wrestling now, but it was certainly, if hardcore you're meaning presented in a completely real manner, then yes. I mean, and you had to be tough back then. Yeah. We were never trying to kill each other, but things were a lot tighter back then.
Pez Watley. Richard Hood said Pez Watley turning against Boogie Woogie Man. Yes.
Pez did a great job of Shaska Watley. Who's awesome.
Richard Hood also said Nikita Teamer when Dusty was tremendous. Yes. That was I forgot about it to Richard Hood. That was a tremendous moment in wrestling. And it made it it made it because he had been wrestling against Magnum TA. It made it just tremendous for him to come out and do that. That was drew a lot of money with Dusty and Nikita Koloff.
Yep.
Yes. Michael Barr did the cat scream. I don't think they really did that. I mean, they did do it, but there was no cat there. You know,
there was no cat injured or hurt during this display.
No, but it was Boo Bradley wasn't going to get out. Who was Boo Bradley, by the way?
Gosh, I remember. I remember him, and I know his name.
To look,
y'all talk. I'll look at it.
Big moment in wrestling: Dusty Rhodes versus superstar Billy Graham at Madison Square Garden. Yes, all the matches.
Yes,
Southern style wrestling to New York and got over you huge. Should have kept it up. Yes, and it's on video. You can watch those matches. Texas Bull Rope match right there in Madison Square Garden. Wahoo turning on Ron Garvin. Yes, I don't think people saw it coming. That's the one thing. The Fantastics and the Rock and Roll Express had some great long with the Midnight Express. Tremendous matches. The last time Ole turned against Thunderbolt. That was so good the way he did.
It's very well done. Again,
Ole looked at him and said, I'm going to give you today, but if we see each other again, watch out. I thought that was tremendous.
Yes. And again, total pros, just like Wrestling 2 and the Superstar earlier. Total pros out there. Know exactly what they were doing.
Hayes, Blind, and the Dog. Oh, man, that was drew a ton of money. One of the biggest houses ever at the Superdome. When Wrestling 2 found his mask and trunks of Mr. Olympia, Jerry's tough suitcase. Yes, that was a tremendous
awesome stuff.
I mean, coming up with some great stuff that I had even forgot. Brian, have you heard the interview with Graham? Talks about him being hung by Dusty. Copying. Oh my goodness.
Yes, that's right in the. I think that's in that Billy Graham story that he talks about, and he talks about that.
Barry Windham turning heel. I didn't think they ever should have turned Barry Windham. I thought he should stay babyface. I don't know why, but I did. I understood they needed somebody like him to be another Four Horseman. But Steve Williams, Stone Cold made WWE what it was at the time. After Stone Cold did it, Vince liked it, and then it went on. Yes. Let's see. Reggie Parks passed away. We had forgot to talk about that, but he
tremendous wrestler, and he really. For all the belts, he's the one that set the standard.
Hayes hitting Kerry Von Erich with a cage door in the match with Flair. Oh man, that was tremendous. Tremendous.
Yeah, it set Texas on fire.
Michael Barr said, leave comments on the videos. Yes, leave your comment. That's true. Leave a comment. Whether you like what we're saying or you don't like what we're saying, leave a comment. Just let us know. Either way, we're not going to get mad and we're not going to type it back.
Yeah, anything we say is not gospel. It's just our opinion.
Yeah, it's just our opinion. So, and we're we're not going to type you back and be mean and all that kind of stuff. Now, we might explain our positioning if we have time to explain our position on there. We don't always have time to get on there. Congrats on the show, Pick It Up Steam. Yes, thank you so much. It is doing that. I promote the heck out of every chance I get. Well, we appreciate it. The Monkey Brothers going to Starrcade. They go to Starrcade?
Yep.
I don't remember that. I don't remember them doing that. Michael Barr also said Terry the Rooster Taylor should have stayed in the dressing room or left the arena.
Dan, he should have took a gimmick and did something with it.
And that would have been great if that would have been great if every time he got beat up, he turned it around and then everybody kept calling him Chicken.
I hope you're enjoying.
What's the matter, Rooster? Are you chicken?
Yeah, I am, Dan. As a matter of fact, I've been intending on replacing where they at some of these out with some of the ones you sent, especially the Jack Briscoe one. Jack Briscoe is one of my all-time favorites, and I appreciate all of them. But man, that one was special. I really love that.
Huge moment when the Wookiee Luchador ripped the title from wrestling Rodney West. Can't believe Rodney actually cried.
That's sinus allergies.
That's right.
Dusty turning babyface in 1974, probably one of the biggest moments of all time in professional wrestling.
Yes, I just watched that again just the other day. Great stuff. especially when Dusty's sitting there talking about it, which they don't do anymore. They don't sit and critique the match anymore.
Did he cry like John Tatum? That's the question. That damn Lang wanted to know.
Okay, Boo Bradley, real name was Jonathan Reckner. He was also known as, and I'll say this because this is the actual name he went by, Balls Mahoney.
Yes,
I remember
Paul.
him.
Yes, I was thinking I knew.
Unfortunately, he passed away in 2016. But
Oh, you got a COVID booster. That's the reason you're feeling bad, Michael. Yeah,
Well, I hope you feel better soon.
you got that booster because I know it will make.
but I'm telling you, Michael, your Wi-Fi is going to be 100% better.
Yes.
All right, folks. We hope you enjoyed this. I want to thank the Insiders very much for supporting us. We certainly do appreciate it. We have a new way that people are going to be able to support us in the, and we'll be taking care of that in the next couple of weeks. Thank you so much. Certainly do appreciate it. Best moments in wrestling. This could be 34 different series of
That's
the,
right.
because there's so many of them.
There is.
So,
He
Yeah,
wants to know what Michael Barr wants to know. What in tarnation is Wi-Fi? We don't got that down here in Dothan.
but what was I saying?
I'm at the library.
I don't know what I
right
was
now.
saying.
I'm on
But
the
if you enjoyed
library
this
right
video,
now.
give us the big thumbs up. Subscribe to the page if you haven't already. It's absolutely free. Go one step further, hit that notification bell, and watch the video down below, the first best moments in wrestling. Until the next video, thank you so much, and we will see you on the next installment right here on Pro Wrestling